This video is going to be on factoring trinomials in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So the first method I'm going to show you is called slip and slide. Okay, so these are the steps. You might want to pause the video and write down the steps, but we're going to walk through them as we do a couple of problems. We're going to slip your a term, that'd be the coefficient in front of your x squared, to the end of the trinomial and multiply it by your c term. That's your constant value. After that, we're going to have a basic factoring of just a regular x squared plus bx plus c. And these are the ones we started yesterday. Then we're going to divide both of these factors by the value that we slipped, that's the a term, over in the first step. Once we reduce the factors, we're going to slide the denominators under the variables. Now that sounds complicated, but I'm going to show you what that means. Okay? So, our first example, we're going to slide the 2, the a, to the back and multiply. So 2 times 2 is 4. Now we're going to factor this. Our steps for factoring are to set up 2 parentheses, split the first term to x and x, decide on our sign. This means they're the same and they are both plus. And then the factors of 4, that will add up to 5. So that would be 1 and 4. Okay? Next, we're going to slide that back under, or slip it back under. Okay? We slipped it to the back and multiplied. Now we're sliding it back under. We want to reduce the fractions if we can. If we can't, we're going to put this denominator in front of our variable. So x plus 1/2 becomes 2x plus 1. Now, 4 divided by 2 goes evenly, and that is 2. So these are the 2 factors for this polynomial. You slip the coefficient for the first term to the back with c and multiply. Factor like we did yesterday, and then slide that number back under and reduce. Okay, so let's try one. We'll try this next one. We're going to slip this back here and multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. We're going to factor. Split the first term. This tells you they're the same, and that tells you they're minuses. So both of them are minus. So factors of 6, that add up to 7. So that's going to be 1 and 6. Now we're going to slide that 3 back down. Anything that doesn't reduce to a whole number gets slid into the front. So x minus 1 over 3 becomes 3x minus 1. 6 divides by 3 evenly. So these are our factors. Okay? Let's try another one. Let's do one with a minus. Let's see. Let's do one of these. Alright. So we're going to slip this back here and multiply. 6 times 4 is 24. We're going to set up 2 factors, 2 parentheses, and split our first term. Our signs are different this time, and we want factors of 24 that will subtract. Because we have different signs, we're going to subtract them to give us 5. Alright, 3 minus 8 is 5. Now we need a negative 5, which means my 8 has to go in with the negative. Now we're going to slide that back down and divide both of these by 6. Now let's reduce. We get 3 over 6 is the same thing as 1 over 2. 8 over 6, both divisible by 2, is 4 over 3 reduced. Now, because they didn't come out to whole numbers, we've got to slide that number back under there. We're going to slide it to the front. Got to slide that denominator to the front. Okay? Now that is slip and slide. There is another method that uses this format. Okay? So, if this is going to be easier for you, I'd like for you to learn this method. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you that again, but we're going to try one. Okay? Now, we're going to try this, this one over here because it's got pluses in it. And we'll start with it. So what this formula says is that we take the a term, and the a term is in front of your x squared. Okay? Sorry. So our a term is here, and our c term is here, and we're going to multiply them. So 6 times 2, and that's going to give us 12 up here. Okay? And then our b term is in the middle here, and that's a 7. Now we want factors of 12. Again, we're dealing with the factors, okay? Factors of 12. That when we add them give us 7. So we know that's a 3 and a 4. Okay? Now notice here I divide by the a term. The a term was a 6. And we want to reduce these factors. So 4 over 6 reduces to 2 over 3. And 3 over 6 reduces to 1 over 2. Now we're going to do what's called bottoms up. Bottom up. Okay, so the bottom goes to the first term. The top goes to the second term. That's one of our factors. All right, again, bottoms up, bottom, and then our top. This is our other factor. So these are the two factors for this polynomial. All right. This is the power of x. That's what they call this method. Now, I want to try to do that again, and we're going to do this problem. Okay? So I'm going to just erase all this and put a new problem in here. And if you need to, you can back up and get that information. All right. So remember, this is our A, our B, and our C. Okay? And notice these have negative signs with them, so the sign goes with it. Our A, 4, times C, which is a negative 5, gives us negative 20 in the top. Okay? So, we need the factors of 20. So I'm just going to write those down. Okay? Our B term goes in the bottom. Our B term is a negative 19. Okay? So because our middle term is a negative, that means the biggest terms need to be negatives. All right? And when we add the two terms together, we have to get negative 19. So 1 minus 20 is a negative 19. So the factors we're going to use, the factors of 20 that we're going to use, are 1 and 20. And we're going to divide them by the A term. And the A term was a 4 this time. Okay? Now, 1 over 4 is reduced, but 20 divided by 4 is a whole number 5. Okay? So, bottoms up, that means the first term is a 4x, and then plus 1. Bottoms up, now this is technically a 1 under there, so we just have a 1x, and then a 5. And these are the two terms or factors for this polynomial. Alright, so I would like for you to pause the video and you try one. Okay, you try this one. But pause it and then let's see if you worked out the problem the same way. Alright, 8 times negative 3 gave you negative 24. B is negative 10. So terms of 24, since this is negative, we know the bigger number's got to be negative. 2 times negative 12, 3 times negative 8, 4 times negative 6. These are our factors. Now we want to look at what we have, and we need to have a negative 10 when we combine them. So 2 minus 12 is negative 10. So we're going to use 2 and negative 12. Now remember, we got to divide by the a term, and our a term was an 8. Okay, let's reduce the fractions. We got 1 over 4 for this one, and negative 3 over 4 for this one. These are divisible by 2. These are divisible by 4. Actually, that's supposed to be a 2, isn't it? Alright, so bottoms up, 4x plus 1. And bottoms up here, we get 2x minus 3, because that is a negative up there. Okay? These are the two factors. Alright, now I want to show you one other type of problem. Hopefully I have time. And that is perfect squares. Okay? So perfect squares just means the first term and the last term are perfect squares. Alright? Now we could use this same process and we could factor this. Okay? So if we wanted to use the x, that would be a times c. A is 1, c is negative 25. Our b term, which would be in the middle, is a 0. So the factors of 25 have to be added together to give us 0. And because this is a negative here, we're going to, and one of them has to be negative. So 1 times 25 and 5 times 5. Okay? So if we multiply 1 times negative 25, we do get negative 25. But we want 0 when we combine our factors. So our factors are 5 and negative 5. Alright? So x plus 5 would be this one. And x minus 5 would be this one. Those are the two factors. Okay? We can also factor them like we've been doing. We don't have a coefficient, so we could split the first term. Determine that our signs are the same. They are both minus. And what would add to give me, multiply to give me 25, but add to give me 10 is 5 times 5. And we get the same answer. Okay, this was a different problem. Sorry, didn't get the same answer. But this is the polynomial that has a middle term. This is the polynomial that had a 0 in the middle. Okay? Every once in a while you will find one that you have to pull out the GCF first. So like this one, 2 divides into everything. Okay? And then you can factor what's left. So this was the one we just did, and we subtracted 5 each time. Okay? So perfect squares just means when you simplify down to the polynomial, you've got perfect squares in the front and the bottom, or front and the back. Okay? So if the x power is the easiest way to factor, do that. If slip and slide made more sense to you, then use it.